It is my pleasure to address this annual Technology Awards as we acknowledge the individuals and companies who contribute so significantly to Ireland's tech sector and in turn to our country as a whole. And whilst we're here for the awards, one of the things I've always liked about this event is meeting old friends, avoiding old enemies, and making new ones, friends that is, and sharing the war stories and indeed the successes. As we've heard, it has been a turbulent year in an ever more volatile world, and yet the seemingly evergreen shoots of Irish innovation, talent and entrepreneurship reflected in tonight's nominees gives us great cause for hope. The success of our industry is underpinned by this innovation and a willingness to take tough decisions and adapt to change. This is evidenced by the enormous impact that we collectively have on Ireland Inc. and the role we have to play in shaping Ireland's future roadmap. Indeed, the current pace of technological advancement is unprecedented. These changes are redefining the ebb and flow of our daily lives, reshaping how we work and changing and challenging the status quo. And whilst tonight is about celebration, I wanted to take a few moments for reflection, hopefully without boring you, on where we are going and how we can build on our current success. There are many different potential futures available to us, and the challenge will be, will we have the courage to make the right calls and the self-belief to adapt and to change? Speaking of change, looking ahead to 2024, the one thing we know already is that it will be historic and it will have an impact on our next act. Together with most of the EU and the US, over half of the global population will go to the polls in the next 12 months. This has the potential to have profound implications and precipitate huge change. The Irish general election will mark a country in transition, and the results of this election will determine how the success story that is Ireland develops. And we're all aware of what that story is. It's the classic underdog tale. Small island nation emerges from the economic doldrums to become a global player. It's got many important and colourful characters, none more so than the predecessors who sat here 31 years ago, some of whom still sit here tonight. You're very welcome again. But now comes the difficult second novel in our success story, the elusive second album. How do we as a country make the most of our success and what role our industry will play in that? We need to ask the question, are we at risk of fumbling the ball or worse still, being held up over the try line? I'm tempted to say it again there, but anyway, still sore. This time last year, we spoke about how as a country we need to get out of our own way. And whilst it's been extremely slow, there has been some progress, but much more needs to be done. A case in point is the National Digital Accelerator Fund. This was Technology Ireland's key ask in Budget 2024. Its goal is to optimise existing digital expenditures within the National Development Plan, which itself should steer us towards the objectives outlined in the National Digital Strategy. This Accelerator Fund is central to making the whole thing click. However, it will flounder and ultimately disappoint if left as it currently is, without timelines and, crucially, without a dedicated champion at senior government level. We are great in Ireland with lofty goals, aspirations, national this, development that, accelerate the following. But the reality is our execution is not keeping up with the pace and the speed of global technology landscape that is changing rapidly. It's not a surprise to us. We are the only industry of our size and impact that needs to engage with 7 different government departments, 7 different government ministers, sometimes from 3 different political parties and sometimes on multi-levels. This has to change. It is no way to put together policy in a modern democracy. I believe that the tech sector warrants a full senior ministerial position to collaborate more closely with the industry and drive through policies that will help us unlock its full potential. We will be asking the political parties in advance of the publication of their general election manifestos to seriously reflect on this. This not only has national but also European implications. Ireland's status as Europe's tech capital is well understood, and much mischaracterized and misrepresented. With this comes responsibility, the responsibility to uphold compliance with national and EU regulations, but also to help shape those regulations and be a leading voice on the European and global stage. And so we must ensure that our regulatory bodies are suitably equipped to navigate the labyrinth of legislation emerging within the EU. We need to give body to that voice. Simply put, we are not investing adequate resources in this area. We lack the muscle required to make the necessary impact, and our potential to be a true leader on the global stage is at risk of passing us by. And, we can't take our current status in the global tech sector for granted either. Too much is changing. Our continued competitiveness hinges on addressing many key factors: the cost of living and the cost and ease of doing business, and our approach to climate change. As an industry, and indeed as a country, we need to aspire and drive towards a zero-carbon future. No one would seriously dispute that. But at the same time, we need to be mindful that if we are to achieve this goal, it is a journey. With current technology and infrastructure challenges, it is hard to see how it will be possible for new energy connections to be zero from day one, as is currently being discussed. And to attempt to do so will be a source of deep regret for Ireland Inc. in the future. Conversations in and around this issue are already having significant impacts on investment decisions and discussions literally happening today. A journey is not completed on the first day, but working together, we are committed to a pathway to a zero-carbon future. But good intentions must be aligned with the capacity to achieve them and supported by a framework to build on them. And of course, this maxim applies to other areas, as indeed does the curse of the 7 ministers. The transformative influence of generative AI demands our attention. This technology is poised to reshape our workflows and change how we interact with the world. To capitalize on this potential, we must equip our workforce with the necessary skills and knowledge. A passion of mine, we need to invest in lifelong learning and upskilling programs to enable us to navigate this new era of AI and help us surf the wave of opportunities that will come with it. Yet again, I must point out the resources are already there, paid for, might I add, by the 1% employers' levy that we all pay. By the time the next St. Patrick's Day rolls around, this fund will contain €2 billion. It's a fund that has never been used, never been accessed, and there's no process to do so. It's been waiting to be tapped, but we seem, very like our corporate tax as a country, unsure to exactly what to do with this success, what to do with this bundle of money. Spending our time, we're arguing around fiscal rules and the fiscal space. In the meantime, Ireland's lifelong learning participation rate stands at 13%, far behind other leading countries. We must invest these funds, and soon, because it will be transformative. In the context of our educational landscape and emerging technologies, this is the educational challenge of our generation. We really just need the Education Minister to have a pint with his party colleague, the Finance Minister. It's easy to sort this. It's a challenge felt most acutely by the innovation-led Indigenous companies who lack the structured and well-resourced training programs established with our multinational counterparts. It is unconscionable that a €2 billion surplus of employer contributions earmarked for this very thing sits there with such an urgent need. It has been going on for too long, and it will be a key plank of what we will be talking to parties about in advance of the general election. Nearly finished, folks. Each of us in this room knows that there are plenty of green fields left to sow. We know that public investment, strategy and execution must match the current level of the private sector's ambition. The forthcoming general election provides an opportunity to discuss the many futures available to us, together with the political parties. Over the next year, we need to bring a unified clarity of vision so the best future can be delivered. A vision that becomes Ireland's follow-up story, translating the success of today into the Ireland of tomorrow, a global technology powerhouse. And before I finish, that's the science bit over. Before I finish, I just want to thank Una, her team, and the board for all the work that they have done and what they do, and putting up with my good self. It's been an extremely challenging year, and on a personal level, I had to take some time off for a minor cardiac event. The fact that this coincided with the Rugby World Cup was just my stroke of good luck, but my wife doesn't see it that way, but that's okay. Seriously though, without the support of my good lady wife, the long-suffering Mrs. Kiely, the support of my team at Thinscale, my friends, some of whom are here tonight, and that of Una and the board, this year would have transpired very differently for me. So thank you very much. And with that, let me express my sincere congratulations to all of the nominees. Thank you for listening, and enjoy your dinner. Thank you.